Welcome to Reality After Show coverage of House of Villains. This is Talk Villain to Me, the finale, with my special guest, Jenn Hoffman. We can't get rid of you.
Hi.
Hoffman.
Guess not. I guess I'm here.
I'm excited. People clamor, like, honestly, out of all my guests, people love you the most. So I think we're onto something here. The chemistry is there.
Thing ever. I love that so much because I did my reality TV show thing. And then, unlike you, got a little afraid of it. Well, then I did a bunch of it. Then I got afraid of it. I was like, oh, I'm afraid of people being mean to me. Now I think, you know what it is? Now I don't care.
Oh, there you go.
If people were like, I hate her, she's dumb. I'd be like, that's fine.
Block.
And I know I never block people, but now everyone's so nice to me. So thank you, everybody.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't have to now. So now, right now, my first season of Survivor dropped on Netflix. block. But we'll get there. We'll get there at the end.
Wild.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So episode 10, finally, the finale. Not your guess on the winner.
Wasn't, but I think I did say once, we won't get into it, that it depends okay. I don't want to give away the end, but we did have a conversation where I said to you that it seems like you're playing House of Villains, although kind of not, because you didn't really screw over Bananas. Sure. So you yourself were contradicting yourself that the biggest villain should win and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like it could go a certain way based on people are really not liking the villains. You know what I mean? Like Omarosa is a villain, but she's a well-crafted villain. And Fisa is a villain. And then Shake, even though I think he's probably a nice guy, comes across as a villain. People didn't like him, but
he had his ups and downs.
They kept, they were the ones being put up for elimination, or people weren't liking them openly and fighting with them. Yeah. So I was like, the people winning House of Villains are not really always acting like villains.
Do we have a problem with the format?
I decided
choosing the villain.
I came up with what I feel like it should be called: House of Redemption for villains. It's a house of villains, and it turns out it's almost like a house of redemption. Like these people that are villains redeeming themselves. And as we
discussed, you're gonna like all of us except for Omarosa.
I still like Omarosa.
I do, but I'm speaking for the comment.
Because we're like reality TV diehard people that we appreciate the game and the intelligence and like I don't know if I would trust her, but I still
did, and I feel
it worked out
injury free for trusting her.
She seemed like she was very she reciprocated the respect with you. That's probably what it is. If she respects you, she's seems to be down.
And her and Bananas. I mean, once again, never referenced in the show whatsoever. The three of us had an alliance for the majority of the show, and you don't see her strike on Bananas.
That is very, very true. It's weird. She's like a villain, but she's just crafty. That's how it is. She's just like trying to craft a well-crafted personality, but also is somebody that loses it in 5 seconds. She's so interesting. Omarosa fascinates me. I think it could be called House of Redemption. I still love it. It's called House of Villains. That's what it's
House of Redemption for Villains is a little wordy.
Yeah, it's like it ended up becoming House of Redemption, and it was one by one. And as we get into it, and as you describe what happened in your experience, I'll check in and go, see, there's a little redemption. See, a redemption. So
is that good though? Is that what we want in this show? Because the show was the show was much more vile than what they showed. They chose to show the happiest and friendliest and most comical of moments. And even some that weren't so whimsical, they fashioned it to be.
They made a strong choice to make it camp and to make it very fun, instead of to make it very villainous. And even Bobby, when he was being a villain and being I will ruin you, whatever, they still made him look like a cartoon character and silly. I feel like that could be because they started to freak out with, the potential, Omarosa having a legal team on set. And once that starts to happen, I wonder if they decided to go in the direction of like, if we make these people look too bad, even though they're on House of Villains, maybe they're going to come for us.
I feel like they had the idea of camp in mind the entire time. However, in the house, we didn't feel that. like Bananas will tell you, in his ridiculous history of reality television, he has never been in the mind fuck that was House of Villains ever before. I mean, we are literally in a text group together for therapy at the conclusion of this because it was so much for all of us.
That's insane. That is something I wanted to talk to you about and we can get into later, because I'm part of this whole thing with like mental health and reality TV. And I was thinking, if you take the biggest villains in there, they think everyone's going to know how to deal with it and play the cameras and stuff. But I see people being so visibly upset and shaken. I can see it, maybe because I'm tuned in to it. Like I know what it's like when the cameras are on you. And I'm like, I feel like people were like 5 seconds from having a breakdown on the show, and villains are supposed to be like psychopathic, sociopathic, not care. And instead, while you're saying that there was a lot of treachery and stuff that we didn't see the negative, maybe it's good we saw humanity, maybe like, the light side of villains. It definitely did not come across like a bunch of backstabbing villains. It came more across like a bunch of fun, loving, happy-go-lucky villains, which you're
saying. As I said, they had to. I think episode 9 was the closest to the reality in which a lot of us felt there, and that's why I feel and Bananas agrees and Omarosa agrees, and I think potentially the viewers agree that's the worst episode in the show.
Which one? I don't remember.
Episode 9 is when I'm crying the first third, Bananas is an asshole, and then Omarosa is full scale Omarosa.
Got it. Yeah, that one was like a weird, like a bridge episode instead of almost like an episode itself. But that was just so, it was necessary to show why you had this strong belief that the ultimate villains, the ultimate players, the ultimate reality people in the house are obviously you, Bananas, and Omarosa. So that episode, I feel like was created because think about what it does. It's
to show our downfalls.
It's Bananas, and then it's Omarosa. Exactly. So I think it was really showing like the titans of the show kind of losing their grips. Plus, people care. People know you guys the most and care about you guys the most. So I think like watching you guys unravel was in the producers' minds of interest to the audience, which in fairness, there are people rooting for you and against you. There's people that want to see Jonny Fairplay cry. There's people that want to see Omarosa implode.
Yeah, and Bananas be the asshole that he showed 20 years ago and not so much, the last few years and even on the finale.
Oh, for sure. Even in this whole season, well, we went back and forth. You can continue. I'm rambling because I had so much. I loved this show so much, but I was confused by it. It definitely... it wasn't let the most villainous person win, and we'll get to that.
The most villainous person in that house, bar none, Omarosa.
Okay.
So
who else now?
What format do we give her the crown? Because she didn't win.
Well, okay, like I've said, Omarosa has never won The Apprentice, yet she is the biggest winner of The Apprentice ever.
Yeah.
She gets the most airtime. She's the most famous. She's a one-word, one-name person. There's Oprah, Prince, Madonna, Omarosa. So she's won The Apprentice, and she did steal a lot of this show. So maybe...
And that was her goal.
Maybe winning isn't winning. Like, maybe winning in the end, even though the money is obviously very nice, it's who gets the airtime, who gets the exposure, who gets the stories written about them, who becomes relevant and exciting again. Yeah, Omarosa loves to be part of pop culture.
Let's say season 3 or season 4 is House of Villains All Stars. Omarosa's not on there because of how villainous she was.
Oh, right. Or villainous, or like
litigious.
Litigious. I was going to say litigious might be the House of Litigants.
Yes, I don't think that's the show they're trying to make.
No.
So, I mean, once again, we filmed the show. We had an idea in our head what the show was. We watch episode 1. We're all calling each other. We're all texting each other. We're like, this is not the show we made. This show is better than the show we made because this is fun. And we didn't obviously we had fun because they didn't CGI us laughing.
Right.
But there was more times than not when we were not laughing.
That's so wild because it seems like even though there are moments when I can tell, just when people are sitting around a table and think, not you crying, but where it's supposed to be normal. And I can see that what's the long mile stare they call people in war that get the stare that are traumatized with PTSD? There's some word for it, this type of stare that people who return from war get, where they're just like, I could see it in people's faces that they're just like ready to check out, really upset. But the show is presented in such a Joe McHale's hosting it, fun camp way, like some silly sound effects that you don't get it. The problem is the format. The format, right? I'll call this person back. The format.
I can't wait for everyone listening to this, like checking their phone right now.
The format, I know. The format was how I know people right now are like, who is it? Who is she rejecting right now? Somebody just got sent to voice now. Yeah, everyone hears that noise and thinks it's for them. I was just thinking about there's this I'll interrupt myself to say there's this one singer that during COVID came up with these like live lullabies where he just sings amazing songs. It's his songs, it's some hits, but in one of them, his cell phone rings in the background. I've been listening to this for almost 4 years now. It's been 4 years since he started recording them. Every time me and my daughter both go like that when the phone rings in the background. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Anyway, okay, House of Villains. The format is the issue in a way, unless they want to make it where we're really treachery, where you have to screw people over. They need to have more situations set up, kind of like yours. Yours was the ideal one when they thought that you were going to win, potentially be the, head villain or whatever it's called that week, but it's not. And then you have to have that chain reaction of picking people, which is where people could fuck each other over or not trust each other. That lends itself to like some real villainry shit.
Yes.
Stuff like making fun of each other and the capturing each other and those vicious little things like that. And then also where they revealed who said what about people, that's villainous shit.
I do have a problem with that. We'll get to it.
Okay. But a lot of this, it ended up being House of Redemption. It was, let's put a bunch of villains together and see who ends up cooperating. How can they trust each other? This is why it was fun to watch, because you don't know who can trust who. You don't know who is truly evil or truly a villain or truly just dislikable, or who you're starting to like and maybe they're manipulating you. Sure. You don't know if things that you think that, pacts people have made and alliances are going to hold up, because these are fucking villains.
Yeah.
And you get very pleasantly surprised by certain things. So it ended up, it's House of Redemption for villains.
Well, I can say what I was told was we were kind of the guinea pigs or the quote unquote lab rats, in that they purposely chose nice in the villain world, in which they felt that this chemistry of 10 people could get along enough to where no one's throwing punches.
That makes sense.
That's not the show they want to make. And our season is the example to show future seasons that the punching show isn't the show that they want to make on season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
You're right. It's like you get a little teaser of that when Jax is like, I will go back to jail for this, but no one punches. You get a little.
They went with less combustible players, in that they were like, because like there's rumor and innuendo about the people that have gotten phone calls for season 2. Okay. And I may or may not know some of those names, but I'm under the impression that one of the people that got the phone call for season 2 was up for season 1. However, there was cause for concern of maybe them being potentially too volatile. And basically the phone call for season 2 was, hey, did you watch season 1? Did you notice that no one punched each other? Can you do that?
That's so funny. Interesting. So they laid it out there and was like, even the biggest villains, and they, look, you guys are fucking in New York.
Heavy hitters.
We're going off. They're either famous for people that are not violent. It's true. They did pick people that have something to lose if they were to get violent, not just maniacs. Yes. And people that have worked with production and television enough, most of the cast, not everyone, to know how to behave.
But even the wild cards, it's like, okay, I feel like this show, the wild cards were honestly Bobby Lights and Shake were the two wild cards.
Right. But Shake's not going to punch anybody because he still had a professional career. Right. You know, he's still, you know, he's a trained veterinarian, freaking Dr. Shake, you know, really, or whatever. Yes. And then
Bobby Lights, he's a lover, not a fighter.
Exactly. Bobby Light wants drama, but he's not going to get enough. He's not going to jeopardize the sponsorship money he gets from places. He's not stupid. He might not be able to, you know, spell a word, but he's not stupid.
Yeah, well, and I could see Bobby Light throwing a punch, but not the first punch. And maybe not necessarily a punch, a slap. And if it is a slap, it's a slap and run.
Yeah.
It's, none of those things are, we're getting a series of 2 or more punches connect back and forth.
I get it. It's not like these people are so violent that production itself or any security might not be able to tear these people apart.
Yeah, we had security at numerous stages. Like, as I said, that's how tense and that's how vile it was that you don't see as viewers. We did have security living in the house with us, but the security were like, they were just like, wow, free money.
Right.
They're just like, I will not earn $1 while I'm here. I'll get paid, but I will not earn a single dollar. I mean, like, they were literally laughing and smiling, like, because, you know, I was like, hey, watch out. They're like, yeah.
I say everyone in the house, if somebody hits New York's going to throw a punch. If somebody does that, you know, like, probably
no one's hitting New York.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But no one there was no one in the house to hit New York. It wasn't that energy, except for when Jax which really surprised me how fast he went to, like, that we'll go to jail. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
don't touch his weed pen.
Right. Except for Jax, which has, like, potentially, in a way, you know, a lot to lose with having, like, the wife and businesses and stuff like that. And I'm like, I was like, oh my God.
Well, how familiar are you with Vanderpump Rules?
In the beginning of it, I covered it, and then I had some weird online drama with one of them. I forget which one. It was either Shayna or the Stassi one, because she wrote something to me about something, and then it blew up on Twitter, so everyone thinks I know a lot about it. And then I was like, I'm not watching this shit, so I didn't really watch it that much.
Yeah, so we got, like, as a result of House of Villains, like Matt Bischoff, who I do my Patreon Survivor content with, and the weekly Q&A. Go to realitypatron.com. That's realitypatron.com, and you too can join us on the Q&A discussion. Jax, you know, stayed at Matt's house when we did the Cincinnati viewing party, and you know, and as a result, him and his wife started watching Vanderpump Rules, and you know, and so they binge season 1. They're like, oh my God, and then they just binge season 2 over Christmas and New Year's break, and last week's Q&A Matt Bishop goes, dude, have you watched Vanderpump Rules? I'm like, no, and he was just like, dude, there's a reason he's on that show. Like, he does bad stuff.
That's crazy. Like, I knew him to be a villain, but I don't watch that show either, so I didn't really know. Like, when this guy who comes from a show that I associate with, like, more like sexual drama, like everyone's hot, everyone's fighting.
It's like the Kardashians, like, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like,
it's a Real Housewives spinoff. It's a real Lisa Vanderpump spinoff of Real Housewives into, you know, that. So I didn't expect that level of, like, the violence, like, I will go to jail. Like, I was just like, oh my God. And then I did think the rest of the season was going to be like that. And you know what? I know I'm rambling a lot. Apologize to everyone who's watching, because I'm in a chatty mood. Maybe they did make the right call, especially by doing it that way, because when he did that, it was interesting at first, but I was like, oh my God, if this is what this is going to be, people constantly saying, I'm going to fight you or I'm going to slap you. I was like, I'll get so bored and so annoyed so fast. So, I was actually worried about that. I was like, oh my God, is this show just going to be like people wanting to fight each other? Because I can't do that. So stupid. And then thank God it wasn't. So
yeah,
the producers did make a good call with that.
yep. So all right, so let's start where we start. We're in the house and it's time for dinner. Oh, hold on. Actually, I have my dinner menu right here, signed by Chef Ben, which is insane. Nice. It's so crazy. So I have a friend that every year Dave Matthews tours, and he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, I have us front row tickets for Dave Matthews once again. What night do you want to go?" You know, because he'll usually do like back-to-back nights. Wow. And so my friend that's very gracious when it comes to these concerts. He was watching the show like next day or 2 days later or whatever, you know, spoiler free. And he goes, "Oh wow, Chef Ben. I actually hired him to come to my house to cook my anniversary dinner for me and my wife." I was like, "Oh, of course." I briefly met Chef Ben watching Shake shit himself. So
oh my God.
So
that's hilarious.
So here is the actual menu. We have so we're called down for a meal, and of course, you know what's dinner without a few dinner guests, and everyone comes back except for Bobby Lights, who is still in London filming Instagram videos for in the UK with Lennox Lewis
for more money than most of us will make in an entire year.
Yes, for $100,000. Is the number you were looking for.
Yeah.
So everyone comes back and it's fun and I think everyone was pretty nice when they returned. And so we have Chef Ben specials. We have to add up to $100, or is it $100 or $200? $200. So we have peeled eggs, $10. And so many people are just like, why don't you just get 20 eggs? There's a reason the movie Cool Hand Luke, when the line goes, "My man Luke can eat 50 eggs," he goes, "He can't eat 50 eggs." He goes, "He can eat 50 eggs." There's a reason that line meant something for so many years, because you can't eat 50 eggs and you can't eat 20 eggs.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I thought of Cool Hand Luke immediately, and I thought someone was going to choose and Fisa kind of did, like all eggs, and then just be like, "Ooh," after like 4 of them, because
or just eat half of the whites of one.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Her usual breakfast anyway.
Yes. So next we have chicken a la hot sauce for $20, and it looks just, it's just a chicken wing and it has some hot sauce. And me and Bananas immediately look at each other, and we both give each like talking without talking. We've done so much reality television over the years. If it's too good to be true, it's way too good to be true.
Right.
There's no way. And Shake, hey, so this one time at Kickback Jack's,
right,
Buffalo Wild Wings, he got the T-shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
The line that I'm Indian, though, does make sense, because they have some. If you ever go to an Indian restaurant and you say spicy, they will fuck your.
But this spicy, we asked Chef Ben afterwards. Like he kind of says on the show, but he really got into it. He goes, it was Grim Reaper pepper. Like it was destroy your butthole.
Yeah.
For a week. Like that.
Wow.
So like literally, so after the competition, what they don't show is Shake is, he can't stop crying. His eyes are burgundy.
Oh my God.
He is in immense pain. Like, I mean, like almost convulsed. Like, it is bad.
Wow.
Joe McHale races Shake to the kitchen, is pouring milk down his throat. They go through all the milk. Then we have squeezed sour cream. He's Joel McHale.
Wow.
Squeezing sour cream in Shake's mouth just to get some version of stability in this man's life, because it is that frightening.
Wow.
So, I mean, like, doctors are called, like, Shake. So that day he's not doing well. That night, basically, it's 5 to 8 hours of coming out both sides nonstop and pain each time.
Oh my God, that's not cool. The producers fucked up with that one. They probably meant to make it so hot that you were in pain,
but you tap out.
Yeah, he's the one with the lawsuit, not Omarosa.
So but as I said, it was so. I love this camaraderie to whatever level it is between myself and Bananas. Like we both give each other a look and we're like, oh yeah, we know.
Right.
And these dum-dums don't, and we're not telling them.
Yeah, definitely those things are always too good to be true.
Yes. All right. So next is the liver saute. I didn't get it. I don't know if anyone did. Next was eyeballs, and that was $30. Next was eyeball sashimi for $30. And my issue with the eyeball sashimi, because a lot of people are just like, hey, just get a bunch of those or little blah blah blah. So we were told we could not cut them in half.
Okay.
We could not swallow them whole.
Oh, I thought that was Banana's whole plan was
That's
just
kind of what he did.
he literally does that from
we were told you had to bite them, chew them, show them. So Banana's workaround was he was putting them in the donut and then basically swallow them whole and showing the chewed donut.
Oh, okay.
So it was a workaround. Well played. Well played. There's always a workaround. And I'm usually so good at finding these.
That's what I say, the trick. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Every episode of The Apprentice, there was the trick. On the task, there's always the workaround. There's always the trick.
Yep.
Yeah.
So next is the balls, and I chose a ball at $40, and here's my issue here.
Okay.
I chose the balls because it had it was the bull testicles or pig testicle. It was a testicle, and then there was the sauce,
right?
Which he shows. And then once I got it on my plate, there was no sauce. The whole reason I ordered that is because I wanted to use the sauce for other stuff. Because we had a small glass of water, no refills, and so liquid or liquidous substances are to your advantage on eating challenges. So I ordered that just so I would get the additional sauce for other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, hey, where's the sauce? And they're like, oh, that was just for presentation.
So why didn't you switch your thing?
And oh no, there was no switching.
Oh, I've learned to be an asshole now. You should know that.
I am way too nice when it comes to
after enough reality TV, and like I was so nice that like I felt like mentally disturbed after filming, but after a few of them in a row, by the time I got to the last one that I did, I was just like, no, not for me, not gonna do that. Switch this, do this.
Yeah, I should have pitched a fit. I didn't. It's my downfall, and we'll get to it on the next challenge. And then finally, pig brain pie, $50. And once again, signed by Chef Ben. How cool is that?
Very nice.
Pig brain pie. So there's a restaurant literally 5 miles from me called Heartline Restaurant. Just purchased by Tickle from the TV show Moonshiners.
Okay. Interesting.
So now it's Tickle's Heartline Restaurant. Okay. And I order once a year, sometimes more, sometimes less, but typically once a year, order brains and eggs. Yeah. And it tastes like ham. And I suggest if you do order brains and eggs, order them well done.
Okay.
And so I was just like, okay, perfect. This is easy. I eat this once a year, no big deal. So it came in like a pastry thing. Number one, I don't like bread. I'm very anti-bread in my diet. Can't stand it. I like the only time I eat bread is if I get a hoagie and it's merely a wrapper and nothing else. I just do not like bread. So it's in this pastry thing. I'm just like, whoa, what's in the pastry thing?
Oh, and so you have to eat the pastry thing too?
Yeah. And I was just like, this is worse than the brains.
Right. You're like, the whole idea is the brains are supposed to be gross. Why are you making us eat a pastry? Yeah. Interesting.
And they're like, well, it's part of the presentation. I'm like, okay, well, I don't get the presentation of the liquid from the balls.
See,
so I don't want the presentation of the pastry on the brains.
Yeah, well, this is where you needed to be a villain.
I know. I'm a fucking idiot when it comes to shit. Like I just sit back, I angrily eat and know I'm fucked, and then I get fucked.
Right. I was thinking that. I've tasted brains too, but they didn't look like that presentation. So that one to me looked like, whoa, what were the balls texture? They looked like gefilte fish or something to me when I looked at them, but like, what were they like?
They were solid in texture, kind of fibrous almost.
Were they gross?
They were fine. They honestly, it was just literally just chew like work. It was just just the amount of substance versus the amount of substance on the eyeballs was the key difference.
Got it. Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
So, and then what they don't show is, we were all given a donut, and then the players competing could assign one donut to someone else.
Okay, like an extra. Oh, so okay.
Yes.
So okay, and you had to finish the donut, and that was supposed to be more food for you, or
yeah.
like.
So Bananas. I assigned a donut to Bananas. Tanisha assigned a donut to me, and Fisa assigned a donut to me, and Shake assigned a donut to Anfisa.
And they don't show any of this.
Nope.
Interesting.
And once again, I don't have a sweet. I have zero sweet tooth at all. So I'm just like, this is worse than the fucking brains.
Well, what makes it even worse, besides you don't do the bread or the donuts or have a sweet tooth, is that you gave Bananas his way to swallow the eyeballs.
Exactly.
Doing, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just, So yeah. So Bananas wins.
I wondered how he won, how he ate everything so much faster. I understood the eyeballs were smaller, so I thought that was a smart choice. They didn't present the rule to the audience that you couldn't swallow them down. That's something they told you guys, where I was like, oh, just go eyeballs, maybe one other little thing or something. So I didn't understand why more people didn't choose it. But I wish they had shown more people eating, because I was like, what the fuck is going on? They showed Anfisa kind of like not really eating her eggs, but there's other, like, I was like, Fairplay is going to be like fighting for his life right now. There's people really fighting to win. Like, Tanisha wants this money, and it just didn't make sense. Like, they didn't really
because they come by, like, it took us 4 episodes to get rid of Jax, and then we go to the finale, and we have 72 minutes to get rid of 4 people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the way they did it was fine, but the challenge didn't. I don't love when they do that. When they leaving certain stuff out, you have to edit a reality show, but when they leave out so many things to where, like, okay, you see the gross out, they extended people's reactions, Tanisha not being able to add to $200 and not understanding it, funny jokes, laughs, but then you don't know why the fuck all of a sudden Bananas is just done and no one else is done with their food. Like,
yeah,
I actually was like, why? I was like, does Fairplay not care to win? Does Tanisha not care to win? They made it seem like you guys weren't even eating.
Yeah, not true.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, I feel my love of reality television goes without explanation. So that was that, and then they're in the house, and it's so great. Corinne's like, how's it been? Like, and I'm just like, oh, it's fine, except for, Bananas and Fisa just hooking up like crazy since the second you walked out the door.
You said they're in love, yeah.
Playing for that jury vote right out of the gate. Once again, I once he fired the first shot, it's war, it's fine,
right?
So, but just like, give me a heads up. I'll give you a heads up. Like, we're gentlemen.
Right.
This is what gentlemen do when they go to war. Not shoot a shot, and can't back it up because your alliance saves me.
Yes. No, at this point it made sense. He said he was coming after you because he thought that you did him dirty with Bobby. So now it's all fair.
Yeah. So step 1, hey. Yeah, I feel I don't know. I have no confirmation, Corinne. However, I did see Bananas with an engagement ring, and him and Anfisa were walking somewhere. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to show it to her and he's proposing to Shake. I don't know. Probably Anfisa, though. She loves rings. It's her thing.
Yeah, well, especially wanting the ring.
Especially engagement rings.
Yeah. I can see that being very upsetting. I can't believe it's that upsetting to her. I can't believe it worked. I thought that she might just like say like, whatever to you. And she was like,
oh no.
Upset.
Yes.
Made a beeline for him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get Jax as my roommate. They don't show that. And I think Jax left with my toothbrush.
Interesting.
I don't think so on purpose. I think I had a black Oral, whatever the really nice, $150 electric toothbrush thing is that, you get for Christmas, either hopefully from someone, or, if no one loves you, you buy for yourself. I'm not saying which camp I'm in. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Well, would you be shocked to think that Jax has one of those as well?
No, of course he probably has one that he bought himself or got or just has because he makes money. He's doing well. And he's Jax.
Yeah, and he would get the black one because it has to match his sweatshirt and hat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, so when we finish filming, my toothbrush is gone.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm like, wonder if he brought one and thought it was his, or if he just was like,
I mean, I
provided by the producers, and I'm just going to take it home. I don't know. It's interesting.
I still have the charger.
Ask him. Can't you be like, Jax, do you have my toothbrush?
I literally just received a check this past week from E.
I mean, not because just to ask him because it's so weird. Not
I know.
Not to be like,
for the record, Bananas did not bring a toothbrush with him, nor did he bring a suit based on his Target attire.
Yeah. Well, not bringing a toothbrush is not the weirdest thing because you think they're gonna bring that stuff for you.
Well, no, and also like when you pack everything, like you don't, without fail, whenever I pack everything, there's always the most obvious that I don't pack. Like, 9 times out of 10, I'm forgetting my iPhone charger.
Right, the most obvious thing.
Or my neck pillow. Like I'm heading to Australia in a couple weeks. Like, I literally need to finish this podcast, go to the basement, grab my neck pillow, and leave it beside the front door for 2.5 weeks to make sure that I don't forget it.
Right. You forget.
And my fiance is behind me going, I am not looking at that neck pillow for 2.5 weeks. Are you fucking kidding me?
She'd rather have you buy a new one at the airport.
Yeah, you're buying a neck pillow at the airport. You know you are.
Right. Yeah, I mean, not bringing a toothbrush isn't the weirdest thing to me because you can just tell if he didn't say to production, hey, can you grab me one? Yeah, that's funny.
Well, they did get him one. So well, that was the thing. When we wrapped, I went to production. I was just like, hey, so my toothbrush is missing. Like, did someone hide it as a prank? Because I feel like I've kind of checked everywhere, and they're like, well, Bananas didn't bring a toothbrush. And I was just like, well, I feel like he's brushed his teeth in 30 days.
Yeah.
I don't think he waited till the last day. Is like, okay, I'm gonna finally brush my teeth and still Fairplay's toothbrush.
Right. Yeah. You're like, that's kind of not relevant to this. They probably brought him one. Interesting. I do want to know about the mystery of the toothbrush. Stupid shit like that. I'm interested. That to me is fascinating. Like the mystery of where the toothbrush went.
I don't think Jax would tell me.
Yeah, maybe not.
Jax is weird on stuff. I love him, but
I just don't know him. I don't know the show very well, and I don't know him. And everyone seemed to like him except for the flip out hot tub and him, but everyone, when everyone got back together, everyone seemed happy to see him. The girls all had crushes on him. So I was like, all right, he must not be that.
Yeah. I'm putting together a deal in Clearwater at the end of the month. And I think I have both Jax and Shake on the bill together.
Ooh,
crazy is that?
Interesting.
All right, we'll get to it. Yeah. So anyway, it's the next morning and it's time for the final redemption. So Bananas has the choice of the one person he can save, and then the remaining 3 go on the hit list, and he chooses Tanisha. And I will say that what they don't show is Omarosa literally tells Bananas, if you choose Tanisha, she will get my vote. She will get New York's vote, and I will campaign for her to get enough votes to win. And Omarosa does threaten Bananas with that. Bananas doesn't do well with threats, but Omarosa does lay that out.
That's interesting. What did she want to happen instead?
She wanted me or Anfisa to be protected.
Got it. Okay.
So, and I think I get her vote over Anfisa, just like I think, just like Tanisha gets her vote over
Anfisa in the end too. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Interesting. I guess they maybe can show that because they thought it would have given away something big or something that you never would have. I don't know. These producers made a lot of interesting choices. Look, show is still entertaining, but I'm mystified by their choices.
Yes. Okay. So next day it's time for the final redemption challenge. It's me versus Shake versus Bananas. Here, let me play show and tell here. You You can say words while I grab this.
Okay. Words. Or I've just spent the past, 40 minutes talking, never shutting up. I'm like, now I have nothing to say.
All right.
You said that I spent the past 40 minutes like babbling and not shutting up and going on weird tangents about random music and my phone ringing, and now I have nothing to say.
Perfect. So here is my board from the final challenge. And I asked Joel to sign it. I go, Joel, can you sign it? He goes, just to Johnny. I go, yes, there's no H in Johnny. And he signs it.
Ooh, very nice.
Johnny with an H and put there's no H in Joel.
That's great.
So there's the final board.
I love it.
Yes. All right. So final challenge. Here's my issue.
Okay.
So we were told we're doing quotes from the house, and they go, to make this fair, these quotes were said in a conversation with someone else in the house. You may have been in that conversation, you may not have been, but someone else was participating in this conversation.
That's not what they showed.
4 of the answers were from confessionals. You're a lot braver in a confession booth than you are face to face.
Of course. And then also
back-to-back Omarosa's to start. Stop it.
Well, that's so strange because it's like, again, I'm mystified by the production, because it's like you would think they would do either or. It would be like, okay, who said what in a confessional? Like, who talked shit? You have to guess it. Or it's like, what can you remember?
Yes.
It's like a weird mix of interesting. Okay.
So, but I'm not pitching that big a fit because once again, my answers don't. The back-to-back Omarosa 1 and 2, I'm never guessing the same person because I'm guessing it's a limited number of quotes.
Right.
And I'm not guessing it's going to be back-to-back the same person.
Right. But of course.
Whereas Anfisa, I don't think has that logic. She's
right.
like, oh, Omarosa said it.
Well, the logic ended up working in her favor, or the lack of logic.
The lack of logic worked in her favor because she got them all right.
Yes.
So
there you go.
As I said, that's why I'm not making that big a fit about it. So because I'm never guessing question 1, question 2, Omarosa back to back. There's no way you're having the same person as the answer twice in a row.
Oh, the law of probability, says that it actually doesn't matter, and the same thing is twice in a row. I know you're thinking the producers wouldn't do that, but the producers will also try to confuse you. My question for you is, honestly, were you not pitching fits over things because you want to maintain a good relationship with the producers and because you have a reality television career?
I am the king of, you will not have a problem with Jonny Fairplay if he's on your show. Not to get like, that's my reputation, and
that's what I mean.
It's not like, that's just what you get with me. Like
it's not a bad thing because it gets you cast again and again. It gets you.
But I don't do it. Like I've seen problem people and I hate them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that person.
Right. No, I totally understand that. There's a difference between the problem person who's always annoying in between everything.
Yeah. And then standing up for that one moment when you should stand up.
It's going to make a pivotal difference. And they know that you're not the whiner or the person who's going to make a big deal. So it's like, oh, if he's saying like, this isn't cool, it's like.
Then, and they would probably oblige.
Yeah.
So, but I just don't ever want to be that problem person. That's just like, shockingly, that's in my, like, it's the exact opposite of a villain and what you would perceive in Jonny Fairplay.
Well, as I said from episode 1, I don't think you're a villain. I think you're a great, like, you play a great villain on TV. I think you're a showman. I think you could have just been a great professional wrestler, an actor, a reality star, anything you want to be. But because you're an excellent performer, but I don't think it, deep at your heart, you're a villain.
So, Shake is eliminated first, which means I finished ahead of him. Right?
Yes.
And then I'm eliminated next. Anfisa wins. That's the final 3. And so I finished 4th place.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
After many conversations with my fellow house guests, I am in a good place now, because basically once I lose the food challenge and Bananas chooses Tanisha, there is no impact for me to win. Absolutely 0. Whereas if, Bananas chose me or Shake or Anfisa, I feel there is inroads in which I could win, but I feel the door was shut there, and well played. And I don't think that was purposely done by Bananas in that moment.
Okay.
But well played, Bananas. Like he did in my only path. No one's beating Tanisha in that spot.
Right.
With the jury format as it's presented.
Right. Which you don't realize
until it's time.
Right, exactly, until it's time, because you have Omarosa constantly saying Anfisa's my girl, Anfisa's my girl. But in the end, I'm like, I just don't trust you. She's going to vote for her, and we'll get to it. But I don't. There were surprises like that on the show of people coming out for people that you didn't expect. But I wish I had seen the Omarosa threat to Bananas, because then things would have made more sense.
Yeah. Once again, they don't. I don't know. The Omarosa edit is very special, and some of it is merited. So, I if I'm production, I probably edit the show very similarly.
Okay.
Potentially. So yeah. So yeah, it's time for our final 3. Everyone gives speeches, some more in passion than others. And it was cool. So me and Bananas hosted the finale party in Los Angeles, and one of the producers and editor of the episode was actually there for this. And when Bananas had called me prior to the finale, and he was like, "Jonathan," like, Bananas.
Mhm.
And he's like, "What are you doing before?" And I was like, we're heading out to see Chef Adrian at I'm heading out with Mikey B from Survivor, owner of Watertown Whiskey. And we're gonna give Chef Adrian a bottle of Watertown whiskey and enjoy an amazing meal at Catch LA. And he was heading to Barney's Beanery with some friends, and then he was like, "Have you watched the finale yet?" I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Have you?" He goes, "No." He goes, "After episode 9, I wasn't in a hurry to watch anything," and he apologized, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well, I think you'll like it. I think it's really good." And so he was excited to hear that. And the crowd didn't love when I was voted out, and they didn't love when Bananas didn't win.
Interesting.
But I mean, we were hosting the party, so
right. Well, I'm not surprised that they were mad when you were voted out.
Yeah.
That's not you're playing to be a villain, and you give a great. I think you gave the speech that was the point of the whole show. You actually gave the most. I'm not just saying this because you're my friend. I was like, oh my God, someone had to say it. You actually lose your mind. You're like, this isn't House of whatever. This is House.
This isn't House of sitting in your closet all day.
Yeah, you're like, this is House of Villains. Like, you kind of brought it back to the point, and were shaken by, like, people being like, well, because you were nice to me, I'm going to vote for you or not. You're like, that's not the point. The point is supposed to be the biggest villain, and then you articulate your point by voting for your enemy.
Yes.
In the house,
so,
by the person you went to the hardest with, but that is your, how you respect the game and like it. But of course, if you were playing it differently, you would have been like, you screwed me over. You made sure I didn't win. I'm not voting for you. But your mentality was like, you got me, so you deserve to win.
Yeah. So, well, production came to, like, I was actively campaigning against Bananas at first. And production came to me, and they're just like, "So you're campaigning against Bananas?" And I was like, "Yes, why?" And they're just like, "Well, I mean, do what you want. It's fine. However, we were under the impression that you respected the integrity of the game. So I was like, I see what you guys are like, and they're just like, listen, this is you guys' show. It's not ours. Like, so you do what you feel. And I'm just like, you know what? You're right. I do love the game so much. And I would be remiss if I didn't.
What was there? Oh, that hat looks terrible. I'm so cold. What was the my hat supply? What was their benefit though, telling you not to campaign?
Because it just would have been unanimous against Bananas.
So they knew.
And thank you, babe. And Omarosa was actively campaigning for a 3-3 tie for Anfisa to do the tiebreaker to make most dramatic television.
If production had any idea that there was going to be a tie out, totally makes sense why they would have gone.
They were aware of all the mechanisms.
Got it. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense now. I was like,
and I was cool with that. I mean, like, I consider Bananas a friend and a brother to whatever extent. So my fiance will vehemently disagree in the other room. So, but yeah, so I had no problem.
Wait a minute. Will she disagree because she thinks that he treated you poorly and you should be his enemy, or disagree because she thinks that you talked so much shit? That's interesting.
She's not a fan.
Why?
I don't know.
Because she's not a fan.
Here, hold on. Let me switch it. You can re-ask that question. Audio. All right, Jen has a question for you.
Kajiri. Hi.
Hey.
So I don't know if you just
heard working out.
yeah, New Year's resolutions.
No, you look great. I just put on like a beanie. I look like I'm one of the wet bandits from Home Alone 2. Like I'm gonna go rob a house. Okay. So he just said that he and Bananas are like really they're good. They're like bros. They're close. And he said that you would disagree. And I said he went to go skim past it. And I said, wait a minute. Why would she disagree? Is it because she thinks that Bananas was like a shitty friend, or is it like, what's your reason why he thinks you would disagree with him being bros and close with Bananas?
I guess maybe like outside the game, they could consider each other friends or whatever, but I just feel like Johnny, he has a bigger heart than Bananas. So.
Yeah. I know, I understand. That's why I asked. I didn't want to blaze through it because I was like, you were very forgiving of stuff with Bananas, and Bananas clinging to certain things that you were like pleading with him to say aren't true. And you're like, we're bros. And I get it because all is fair in the end in reality TV. But when you said that she didn't think that, you guys really were bros, I was like, wait a minute. I want some support for this.
Well, that's just me being like a protective fiance for one. Yeah. Going into the show, I was like, don't trust him because like I know he's all about his game and winning. And I mean, he says that like, I'm here to win, and he just doesn't really care about other people around him that are trying to win as well. And I guess I feel like Johnny, he was playing with more heart, which wasn't a bad thing. But one thing that he has made me realize, like, and I have realized myself, that you don't see everything that's on TV. So there was like a lot of cool times where they were hanging out, being friends and, having that bonding time. All the guys, were, and then when the cameras are on, they're back on, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I guess there was like more friendship, than you really do see, because they love to turn their villain on, when the cameras are rolling, or they know it is. Well, especially him. Like I feel like, because I've hung out with him multiple times, and like he's a very likable person to be around, and nice and everything. But I feel like just game wise, like can't trust him.
Right. And he's known for that. So
yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's not.
So I kind of gave him like, why'd you trust him? But
yeah, that's a good analysis. See, there you go.
Yeah. So and what you got, like a lot of what you didn't see, and I mean, and of course, there's zero reason to show this. Switch my settings back. Is when when me and Bananas are at odds, like Bananas and I would literally like during the day, like me, Shake Bananas, we would drink from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and it was beer o'clock, whenever we'd walk, like, hey, beer o'clock, grab a beer.
And your low carb IPAs or whatever.
Low carb IPAs and the Mick Ultras. There we go. And literally me and Bananas would be like, all right, so let's call like a 4-hour truce. And it's like, yeah.
Oh, I get it. Like during my season, The Apprentice, it was the weird LA one. We had a pool in the backyard, and they do show us occasionally floating around the pool. It's so weird on The Apprentice because usually it's not like that. And then we would be having like a vicious boardroom coming up, and there are people who really didn't like each other, but we would just, some people couldn't get down. Some people were so angry that they would just go sit inside and be mad. Sure. But me and a bunch of the other cast members were like, oh, let's just go float around the pool and hang out. And now we're really good friends, but during the show, we're like mortal enemies. And so I get it. The downtime, you suspend stuff just because there's boredom, and also you're there for the same reasons. There's friendship, but there's also a trauma bond. I really think a trauma bond happens. I don't want to compare it to real war to insult people that have gone and fought and been in a real war. But people that have been in reality TV have said that they end up bonding with their cast and, and other people from reality shows immediately, because it's like, you get it. It's not because the person's reality famous. It's because there's a weird trauma bond that goes on.
Yeah, we went through like Survivor, like this was crazy in that it was a pressure cooker. It was a mind fuck in spite of the campy presentation. Survivor, I mean, like my first season, we had 2 tropical storms that later became hurricanes. And I remember one of the storms, it literally rained for 14 hours straight horizontally. Like the cameras, my first season, the cameras never left us the entire time. And there was one storm where basically the camera guys go, no one die, and just left us.
I see you. Right.
And we're sitting there looking at each other, and it was just like, this is the most horrific thing I've ever, like, these people will be a part of my life forever, because I will never unless all shit goes south tomorrow.
Yeah.
There is no way that life could get worse than these fucking 12 hours.
Right. Oh my God. I don't know how you guys do Survivor. I don't want to go off too much of a tangent since I've been rambling this whole podcast for some reason.
Yes, that's what a good podcast is.
I couldn't do that one. I could not do that one. I could do Big Brother. I think I could potentially win Big Brother. I could win The Apprentice. I could any of these things. If there was House of Villains, or since I came across so good, if it was like heroes versus villains or angels versus villains, I was like, I could win something like that. I could not even compete, let alone win Survivor. You motherfuckers are insane. Just the experience of being there. I just don't even. Then there's the gameplay. Then there's the mindfuck. Then there's to be starving. And then there's being physically uncomfortable. And I know you've talked about Survivor enough, but never enough. People always want to hear more about it, I'm sure.
Well, maybe we'll talk about Survivor.
Yeah, we should talk about it, because
stay tuned, folks.
I'll keep it more to myself, but I will say, if of all shows, you guys to me are like insane, and also like that is like an ultimate competition type, like how it's only when I wouldn't do it. If any of the other like ones that were big, like Big Brother was like, want to come on, I'm like, yeah, sure, but Survivor, I think, I do love a good challenge, so I might say yes, but I feel like I'd be crying and want to go home.
Yeah. Well, I always I love Survivor so much. Like, I mean, like it fuels me. It made me, but halfway through filming House of Villains, I'm sitting there in the kitchen, and it's, I don't know if I've told this story on the air, but it's me, Omarosa, me, Tanisha, and Bobby Lights, and we're sitting there talking, and they're like, they go, what's your alcohol budget each day on Survivor?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, 0. And they're like, no, what's your alcohol budget? And I'm just like, nothing. Like, you're just trying to get water, like,
right.
And they're like, why are you talking about water? Like, what's your alcohol? And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand Survivor. I was like, we live on the ground, we have nothing. If it rains that day, we don't eat because we can't make a fire. And if it doesn't rain, we still need water because you have to drink water every day.
Right.
And
they don't know it.
And they're just like, you're stupid. And I'm looking, I'm just like, am I stupid? Because the alcohol budget for House of Villains was not zero.
Right.
And I had a lot more fun.
For The Apprentice, they plied us with liquor. I mean, that was part of their thing to make us look stupid. They would constantly say food was available, food was late, food was whatever. But there was always tequila. There was always alcohol available, but the food was late or missing, or so they could not show that. Then they wouldn't show us really drinking. So it was like, why are these smart business people so stupid? Well, we've been eating in 2 days or slept and we're wasted. But Survivor, they couldn't. I mean, maybe for the caloric value, but that's not.
I mean, you get rewards, and like when you do get alcohol, it's to the 18 millionth degree because you have nothing. Like, and you'll see like on Pearl Islands, like we have a challenge where you win beer, and so there's a 16-ounce glass of beer, and Jeff goes, "You want to know what you're playing for?" He goes, "Beer and pizza." And he takes a sip. He goes, I guess you guys want to try it. And so the first person takes a little sip, and then I think I'm like second or third. I'm early in it going down.
Yeah.
And I drink so much because I'm like, number one, I'm an asshole. Number two, I love beer.
Yeah. You guys are just so fucking hungry and thirsty at that point. Like it's like I get it. I would get it almost how they would look at you and go, "What are you, stupid?" Like, because to them, they're like, we're on these shows that are fun and have alcohol budget, and we get to like sit around and look nice and do this. But Survivor is like for real ones. Like that is, you guys are all crazy people. That there's that one Alone. I don't know if you've ever seen Alone, where people have to survive by themselves.
Everyone has been telling me I need to watch. Like my problem is I've been touring after the finale on the 21st. It was 15 weeks straight. I was on the road, and I was doing back-to-back 10 weeks of back-to-back Survivor and House of Villains. Bam, 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 bam. And it was mentally and physically almost as mentally and physically exhausting as the show itself. But it was a lot. And so I'm taking the month off. I'm starting back again. I'm doing a party the night before the Royal Rumble in Clearwater. The Fairplay Rumble, go to fairplayrumble.com for details. And so that's January 26th. So I have this amount of time where I can stop. And then February 2nd, I'm on a plane for Australia. I'm gone for 9 days with the time changes and all that.
Right.
And I'm hosting a Australian Survivor, Titans versus Rebels. I'm hosting they do an entire week, premiere week. And so I'm hosting in 3 cities in Australia, and then I'm back for a week, and then Survivor starts again. And so all this is
it's all encompassing, right? Yeah. So you don't have time to watch the other.
So when I do have free time, like I have to watch, I have coverage coming up here on the Reality After Show network, covering Traitors season 2, and they drop in. Last time they dropped them all at once, and that was so stupid. And Peacock, you're idiots, but they learned, so they're dropping 3 episodes a week. Episodes 1 through 3 drop on the 12th, and so we're going like that. So that's wonderful. And look for a podcast next week, episodes 1 through 3. Rachel Riley will be here. Maybe Jenn Hoffman will be here. You never know. So we'll be talking next Monday, I believe, about Traitors season 2, episodes 1 through 3. Right. So I watched that. And then my season of Survivor just dropped on Netflix, my first season. So of course, let's look back 20 years later, and let's see why I'm getting hate messages every single day, because it is 20 years later. The landscape of the world has changed. Think back to 2003. What's cool in 2003? Howard Stern, South Park, Jerry Springer. The world is a very different place.
What's acceptable is different. The norms are different, and people do not keep that in mind. I'll say they also just dropped on Netflix. It's just to contrast. They just dropped 2 older seasons of Millionaire Matchmaker. And the things that Patty says right now, forget being canceled. They would kill her. She calls people fat. She says, "Change this. You're ugly." The insults and the way that was like acceptable then. The cover of Us Weekly might have called somebody the same thing. Reality shows were different. People behaved different. That it was a different culture. We were culturally in a different place at that time. So you have to remember the context of when it's filmed.
Yeah, I had a line like someone messaged me and they're like, dude, put this on a t-shirt. And I'm just like, yeah, not happening.
I mean, how does that feel? So the my season, The Apprentice, actually dropped 15 years ago yesterday. Was the first. It was the premiere of the first episode of my season was 15 years ago yesterday. And I thought, what would I think if they aired this now? And what would people think of the whole show if they aired this now? So I can't imagine.
Oh, it's just immediately hated because Donald Trump is the host.
Yeah, but
so it doesn't even make it past there.
I mean, NBC will never do it because it's too politicized, but they're idiots for not rewriting Apprentice, or someone else should buy it and license it and just do it and not care. But Trump thing aside, for you to watch something that was you making your debut into this whole crazy world 20 years ago.
Purposely creating a character.
Yes.
I create the character of Jonny Fairplay. Like my goal, I'm like, I want to create this character. I want him to be the biggest bad guy in the history of reality television. I want to keep him on television for as long as possible. Those were my goals. Should have had 4. Should have been to win.
Yeah.
Did not know I did not have a 4th
there. Yeah.
That was never a goal.
Yeah.
Well, I have no idea why.
I will return again to saying that the winner is never the winner. Yeah. I thought it would be great to win The Apprentice, but I thought it would be the winner of The Apprentice again is like Omarosa. You will always be a winner of Survivor. It's why people assume you did win, because people remember your name. They look to you at you're a Survivor icon. There's certain Survivor icons.
Legend. According to the new shirt at fairplayshirts.com that drops today.
Legend. There you go. But there's people that haven't won that are part of like the legends of these shows, and you forget who the winner is. So winning is great because of the money. Like now, I'm older now. Now I'm like, I want the money.
Money, that's it. Like you can have the title, don't care.
We have kids, we have homes.
First now can have the title Sole Survivor. Don't care.
No,
means nothing to me.
Yeah, I would be playing for the money now, but I was not playing for the money at all.
No.
And I thought winning would be great, but I was like, I'm playing because I love this show. I love this game. I think it'll be a good experience. I want to be part of this. And it just wasn't in my nature to be like villainousy like the Omarosa, although I wish. If I can go back in time, I would just shank everyone. I'd be so evil.
Yeah.
I'd be so evil on that show if I could. But I was just like, people say I'm not here to make friends. I was like, I'm here to make friends.
Right?
I basically was.
Here's a quote from my first season. Promises are like wicker furniture and fat women, easily broken by Jonny Fairplay.
Oh, of course. So now people are probably writing to you saying that they hate you and that you're fat phobic and you should die.
Yeah. And I have lines later on. Like I said, we'll discuss when we're covering it. I'm just like, when it comes to peeling potatoes and scrubbing the floor, women are superior to men. But I am literally quoting Andy Kaufman from Mid-South Wrestling when he was feuding with Jerry Lawler. I'm literally I did Survivor, and I get a phone call like as soon as Survivor's over from Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, and they're just like, dude, do you know what you're doing? And I'm just like, I think so. They're like, dude, you're doing Andy Kaufman. I'm like, yeah. They're like, it's brilliant. I'm like, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's what it was. It wasn't, and then they're just like, oh my God, I hope you're miserable. I hope you're I hope you live alone. And I hope your grandma's, and all these horrible things. I'm just like, okay, number one, I'm engaged. My grandma's still alive, and I have 2 girls, and I love them.
Yeah.
Stop it.
But the grandma thing is wild because your grandmother, what is her license plate's dead Gma, right? Dead grandma. Yes. She loves it. I remember immediately after, because it was such a big news story.
Sure.
I wasn't even really into watching Survivor at the time that much, but I immediately was aware of who you were because the news, like the actual news channels.
It was the week Saddam Hussein was captured. The headlines read, "The most hated man," New York Times, "most hated man in America." Picture of me, Saddam on page 2. And I'm like, I literally did not kill anyone. I lied about the person that I said did die.
Right. And that person didn't care, thought it was funny, celebrated it, was in on it, and made it part of her little fun.
Story of her life. When back then, they used to pretend everything was real time. They when you were announced that you were on Survivor, they would contact family members or like your husband, your wife, your mom, whatever, your coworker, and they would do the interview for you because you couldn't do the interview because you were on the island.
Yeah.
And so for all my interviews, I picked my grandma. And in every interview, she goes, "I almost died when I heard my grandson was going to be on Survivor." I had her say that every interview.
That line's the greatest for that.
Yes.
Oh my God, that she's dead.
And she loved it.
Perfect. I know. People coming at you for that was so dumb. The headline was great.
Well, they still are. Like literally, it just dropped on Netflix January 1st. And like I am blocking minimum 10 people a day of just like I've screenshotted some the most horrific things you've ever seen. And so I'm bad, but you're literally writing the most horrific things I've ever seen typed to me.
Right. Like if they're mad at you for saying things that they think are offensive, cruel, or especially cruel, and particularly cruel, why are they writing something so cruel to you? If you're against cruelty.
Yeah. And you're using the F word. I'm not.
Right.
And you're using all these other words that I'm not, because I'm under the CBS umbrella. I can't use 2/3 the words you're using when you write what you write.
Right. Yeah. I don't get that when somebody is perceived as mean or perceived as doing something cruel, and then everyone like piles on them with even more cruelty. Because I'm like, aren't you against?
Yeah. You hate this. You're well, in between every F word and the other F word, I'm reading that you don't like this.
Right. It's wild to me that people have a problem with the grandma thing. That is like, get a sense of humor.
Once again, 20 years.
Right.
I wouldn't have a problem with it now. Who cares?
No.
Like, how many people do you know, including yourself, have lied about a relative dying for either work or school?
Yeah. Yeah. There was, it's so funny you said that. There was just, this teacher who posted a thing, and I don't remember if it was on Twitter or Instagram, and she wrote that she used to have an 8 a.m. class. And then she was like, wow, like this is a lot of people's grandparents die, whatever. And then the next semester she started a 3 p.m. class, and like nobody's grandparents died. And she was like, oh, it's because I teach an 8 a.m. class. Like,
yes,
she's like, people lie and are like, my grandma died. That's why I missed class or have to skip a test or, et cetera. And it's like, people say that in their life, and like, judge what you want about it, but you were on a competition reality show playing a character, doing
$4 million.
Yeah, I don't
playing a character, playing the first ever bad guy because no one else would embrace it or own it before me.
Yeah, I don't get it. But then again, at the same time, that fuels you. So the hate and the tomatoes thrown at you is like that character. Like if you're going to play the villain, you're going to play the person saying something outrageous. Like, the wrestler villain wants people to be booing them and throwing a beer at them when they're coming down the thing. And like, so that you kind of.
Oh, I love when you throw a beer. Knowing that $12 just left your wallet and went on me.
Yeah.
And not down your gullet.
Yeah.
Oh, that fuels me.
Like over your rage for me, you just spent money. Like awesome.
Especially if you miss me, even better.
Good job, dummy. But I think about that all the time with the reality shows, watching there was not, I would say if you played a drinking game with
if you played a drinking game about how many times I talk about my fiance on House of Villains, you have a pretty good buzz.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Or how many times I explained to you that I'm the greatest survivor.
Oh yeah, that one. When you say I'm the greatest survivor villain, I'm the greatest survivor or the greatest survivor villain or the greatest villain. That was hilarious. I was like,
Jesus.
I should have a counter.
Well, the crazy thing is, I make fun of like Ben on Survivor. He served our nation's military, and he said it. I think they did a count that season. He said 13 times.
Okay.
Okay, Ben did not purposely say it 13 times. Production is like, hey, can you say it?
Yes.
And someone in production should have, in editing, should have called. It's just like, oh, hey, we've used this way too. I mean, because it doesn't need to be there 13 times.
Right.
Okay. But you do need the reminder. Like if I'm producing the show, even though I think it's overkill, I still have it in there 6, maybe 7 times because I want the person that's catching every other episode.
Yeah.
And I want the viewer that I'm trying to tell that story to, that cares about that story, to hear that line. But I'm not putting it in 13 times.
Yeah, they were doing that then because it makes sense for me of them doing stuff like that, because they really, for those big shows, will drill a point home so much. Like, this character is this thing, is this thing, is this thing.
And especially that he won.
Right. And that, I know that, well, that's what they want. That's what I'm saying. They want to remind you every single minute he's this thing and that he won. So they did that on purpose, obviously.
Yes.
And,
once again,
unfortunately, it makes him look like he's being like, saying it so much, like, to make it a thing for him, where he's just like stating something, and you don't realize.
We used to make fun of him on my podcast, and he heard the pod, and he was not happy. And he's just like, they made me say that, and I'm just like, dude, I know that, so it actually got a little tense between us.
Wow.
Truth be told. So for my karma to pay me back with, I'm the greatest villain. I'm just like, of course. I think it's great. Like, I embrace it, because someone's just like, I thought you were the best. I'm like, I don't know. Did I not? I feel like the problem was I didn't mention it enough.
Right. Yeah. Maybe not enough. Maybe no one knew.
Yeah. Maybe I should have told you more that I was the greatest villain and that I would have won.
You weren't aware. I think that for Survivor, for your 20-year anniversary debut of it now being released again, I think that would be a really fun game to play with viewers, is a drinking game or some sort of thing of how many things couldn't make it to air today.
Oh,
you catch in every episode.
Okay, well, I'll double your drinking. You ready? Okay, so every time something that couldn't make it on the air today, and every wrestling reference, because while I was filming, once again, did not care about the $1 million. I wanted to create the character Jonny Fairplay, keep him on television for as long as possible, making the biggest bad guy of all time. Also, while I was there, I was trying to make a drinking game for my friends that every time I did a wrestling reference, they had to drink. And I purposely worked in wrestling references, and they almost all made the air.
Yeah, that's so funny. People don't realize what you're doing, especially also the deep cut with like the Kaufman playing that, the quote and everything. They're not realizing what you're doing.
I do. Ric Flair was voted off the island. I'm doing Dusty Rhodes impressions. I'm doing Macho Man Randy Savage. It's all there. Ric Flair struts.
I love the double drinking game. You need to take a sip or a shot, whatever is your thing. Or if you're a weed person, hit your weed vape or whatever. Yeah, every time.
Well, you know what? We might do something special. What if we do the watch? We'll do the watch on the Patreon, and we'll drink while we're watching it.
Okay.
So we'll do that night, and then we'll do the actual podcast the next day.
Yeah.
Or after. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. It's like every time we'll do wrestling is one category. Every time you have a wrestling reference, and the other time is for not just you, but every time anyone says,
oh yeah. I mean, because I guarantee they come on in, guys.
Right. Or they put a situation, or they clearly like show something. We'll know. It's just like porn. Oh, yeah. You know it when you see it. We'll know it when we see it. When it's
when they show Dara and they win the shower reward, and they have to show Dara. So it was like, oh, heaven forbid you show a girl taking a shower.
Right. Well, now they'd be like, there's just you can't. It's a different universe from 20 years ago. So that would be fun.
So, all right. So bringing you back 360. So my speech, I'm at the finale party, and the producer / editor is there. And he was just like, have you seen the finale? I go, yes. And he goes, how much of their speech did they use? So I'm just like, a good chunk. I was very happy. He was just like, I fought for you, and I fought for all of production, in that what you said is what we all felt. and that had to be in the show because you were speaking for all of us.
Wow. I think that's the quote of the show. I think that's the whole point. I think when you said that, that made so much sense to me. And that's when I wrote in my little dorky notebooks, I take notes while watching it. That's when I wrote, it's House of Redemption, not House of Villains. I was like, he's so right. He just summed it up. This is true. And I understand why he's like freaking out about it, because that's not the spirit of the show, but it ended up becoming like House of Redemption or House of like, who do we like the most? Or yeah, definitely wasn't be the biggest villain to win.
Yeah, I think as I said, we're starting coverage of Traitors season 2 next Monday. The first 3 episodes drop on Friday. Villains or Traitors has figured out I think they have figured out a better way to award the winner than House of Villains did.
Well, I wonder if it's, so is there a concept that it's people that have been traitors before, or is it like these are famous reality people, but they're going to have to maybe betray each other or whatever?
Okay, so season 1 was half reality people, half newbies.
Right. Keep talking. I'm just freezing.
And that was a flawed concept in that the reality TV people ran in circles around the newbies because they had no idea what was going on versus the reality people. Okay. So with that, season 2 and moving forward is all reality stars, no non-reality stars, because that does not make a better show. And the gimmick is there's a cast of, I don't know, like let's say 15 people. I don't know the exact number. Someone would be like, oh, it's 12, it's 15, 18, whatever. So anyway, so say there's 15 reality people.
Okay.
3 people are chosen by production to be the traitors.
Okay.
And so at night they go and they meet together and they pick one person to kill. And then the next day that person's dead and they're out of the game. And so everyone gets to choose, the people collectively vote on who they think the traitor is.
Oh, it's like mafia or whatever you call it. Yeah. It's like playing that. Okay.
And if it's not that traitor, they stay in, and then someone else is gone. And then when they're eliminated, when they vote on the person, everyone votes on who they think the person is. And then afterwards they go, I am not a traitor, or I am a faithful. And 9 times out of 10, they're a faithful. And it's like, oh, you idiots.
Right.
So once again, it was so much easier with half reality people and half newbies, because the reality people ate, like Suri had a field day.
Right.
Suri is like, feed me more.
Right. Oh my God. Suri, like so famous for her big betrayal on Survivor. Like she is famous for betraying somebody by swearing on her child and betraying someone, betraying Shane on Survivor. So like she's gonna eat people alive.
She did. Season 1. So season 2, we have Parvati and Sandra and Johnny Bananas.
Oh my God. Wow.
And CT.
Oh my God. That's a wild
and Dan Giesling and Janelle. It's some heavy hitters.
Yeah. Oh, Janelle too.
Yeah.
All right.
And there maybe some pregame alliances, because that's what Dan Giesling does.
Interesting.
I hate pregame alliances. I did have one going into the show, but it was a handshake agreement, nothing more. No one promised each other final 2, and you saw the fallout of the pregame alliance.
Those don't always work anyway. They don't bother me because you don't know what the dynamics are going to happen there. You don't know who's going to switch, if somebody else is going to show up you didn't know about. Like you don't. There goes my beauty lighting. You don't know what's going to happen. So pregame alliances don't really bother me, because like they'll get fucked or they won't, either way.
Yeah. Derek,
but that's why they don't tell people, the cast members, in advance. A lot of the times on these shows, you don't know who's going to show up, so you can't make the pregame alliance. But
I found out the cast, but we'll get there anyway. So we're not going to get there. We're not going to talk about it. So I will on the Patreon, realitypatron.com. I'll talk. Ask me in the Q&A tonight how I knew the cast. So we have stuff coming up. Jenn Hoffman. Are we happy with the winner of Tanisha?
All right. Can I tell you something super embarrassing?
Oh, please. Did you pee yourself?
I got teary-eyed.
Oh, teary-eyed. Wow. That's more embarrassing than peeing yourself.
I almost cried because I think
it was a good story.
It's also, I'm a mom. I've been a single mom for a while. And I just had that, like, it got me because just on a personal level, I felt like, there's been times that, and like her, did reality, then did the hosting thing, and you never know where it's going to go. And then all of a sudden you have a child. So I felt in that moment, the relief, not just joy, but the relief you must feel to know that like you have money. Like I was saying, how before I never would have played for the money, what that money must have meant to her, what winning and having people like be nice to her and validate her, like, just
Bananas did ask if he goes, can I have the title and give her the money? And he was just like, bring in legal right now. And like out of nowhere, like 12 people, producers and legal and all of them showed up. And they're like, they're like, no.
Right.
He was just like, okay. He goes, they're like, there's no way we can enforce that. He goes, I'll sign the check right now. I don't care.
What's crazy is technically he could have done whatever he wanted. Yeah. They just couldn't be complicit in it. He could have tried to make sure he won, and then he can give the check to whoever the fuck he wants after it.
Well, you're not allowed to conspire to share. So there's the whole
But you don't conspire to share. He doesn't tell her. If he were to make a decision in his mind, that I'm going to go all after it, I'm going to win, I'm going to play like bananas, but no matter what, I'm going to give her this money. Yeah. And that was just like in his heart, he could have done that for sure.
But the villain move is to say that and then don't do it.
And then which he did it on a challenge. Yes. He was supposed to split the money and he chose to take it all.
No. He was given the option to split the money. And honestly, I love Sarah. I've hung out with Sarah. I like her a lot. Bananas, and you can have a problem with this, and I can understand your way of thinking. His belief was they threw that out there as a production device for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, if I say no, it wasn't like he goes, I'm trying to make TV,
right?
And if I make good TV, people watch and they bring me back.
Yes.
So when that production device is implemented and he has the option of, do I keep it or do I share it? Right. And the other people said, we're sharing. He was just like, we're sharing. He's just like, I'm not.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I want to make that TV moment. That's why it's there.
Right. Well, they have set you up to become a star and to do what the show is trying to make you do by giving people the option to split the money. The hero to the producers and of the show is the one who acts like the villain and takes the money.
Yeah.
And that's how you get cast again.
Yes. So he did that. And so he didn't need to do it again on this show. However, I've never done that. And I would have loved to have been presented the opportunity to just screw over something, to promise the money and not give it. That would have been wonderful.
Yeah. I totally understand. I'm so right. I mean, my whole life, I would have definitely split the money. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't playing.
I would have too.
Oh, now I'd be like, probably take it because I'm like, again, you just get older and you're just like, okay, I don't really care about like my character anymore being on the show. And like, I don't know.
20 years ago, I would have kept the money. The 15 in between, I would have shared it. And then now I would keep it.
Yeah,
because I'm not trying to be on the road 15 weeks a year or 15 weeks in a row, which is the second half of the year. So
yeah, I totally understand that trajectory of why.
Yeah. So,
but Tanisha won, and definitely was not the biggest villain. Was almost like, besides her battles with Omarosa, but they ended up making up. She was almost like the sweetheart of the house. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
So is this a flaw or is this okay?
It's a flaw in the way the game is presented, but it ended up being a great show because you didn't expect it. It evoked an emotional reaction from me.
At the end of the day, you're just trying to make a good show, right?
Exactly. It still made a great show. It was unexpected. You totally expect Bananas to screw her over and not bring her to the end and not be and the fact that he doesn't do that is kind of cool. That's why I was like, it's House of Redemption in a way, because you see
he gets his redemption.
You had the chance,
which he was looking for.
Yeah, and he got it. And I feel like you had, the moments, even though Bananas believed that you screwed him over, given the option, you didn't. There was like a lot of people given the option to screw someone over, they didn't. So it really ended up being like, how will these villains really behave now? And it was not, will the ultimate villain win? For sure. That didn't happen.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I'm trying to make the best television show possible on anything I do. And I think that's what, maybe not Bobby, because I don't know what Bobby thinks about anything. I would like to think he would, but I feel like that was a vested interest amongst the entire cast. Number one, of course, that's the goal by production. Number two, and by NBCU, collectively. And with that, I say mission accomplished. So, but figuring out the greatest supervillain of all time, or at least of season one, maybe not so much, but who cares? Because the end game was good TV. Yes,
absolutely. That's absolutely true.
And I'm happy. I'm happy with the winner. So I like Tanisha. Tanisha's great. I like the entire cast, though. There's no one on the cast I don't like.
That's good. I also think that's the trauma bond that happens when you are in a reality show with other people. Yeah. Not all the time, but especially like living in the house and when you have downtime and stuff like that, and you don't know what's going to go on, and production is freaking you out, and there's the terrible times you said don't make it to air, and you all collectively know about that. A weird trauma bond happens, and you guys end up becoming like family for life. It's crazy.
Yeah, so good times. Jenn Hoffman, where can everybody find you?
Find me on my Twitter, which is right there, Jenn Hoffman. Instagram is Jenn Hoffman Hi. You can look for my writing on New York Post, a bunch of other random places. I kind of write for everywhere. And that's about it for now. We'll see what's coming up next.
Yeah, you should have wrote something about the House of Villains.
I had thought about it, and then
you had so much time invested.
Well, I know, and it was my whole thing. I was an entertainment reporter and writer, and I had columns about multiple reality shows and used to host. And I think I was like, I'm out. And then you ruined it for me. Two things ruined it for me. One was Wendell, and it was their whole thing about getting into the reality. I did the mental health talk with them, and that made me start thinking about it. And then doing this podcast with you and me watching the show and talking about it, I was like, oh, I fucking love reality TV. And I'm like, oh, damn it, Fairplay. You did this.
A lot of people start a lot of sentences with "damn it, Fairplay."
Yeah, there you go.
I can name 9 villains that said.
And so I actually should have covered it. Could have gotten paid to cover it. Would have, but I was like, I am so out of this game. I'm so out of caring about it. I'm out of writing about it. I'm out of covering it. And now I'm like,
oh, traitors! I sense a traitors column coming.
I know now. I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about different.
Do you have time to binge season 1 before Friday?
Possibly. This is the craziest week ever, but I could. It depends. If I could pitch the right place to write about it and they cared, then I would. But we'll see. I'll definitely watch some if you're. We'll see if you guys are gonna record something about it. You and Rachel. I love Rachel. I know her. So
yeah, we're recording Monday. Okay. So or Monday like morning-ish, and so they're dropping 3 episodes on Friday. So you have between now and Monday, if you want to watch, I strongly suggest watching season 1 first. Rachel's on season 1, and her feud with Kate from Below Deck is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, Rachel is here for Kate all day long, and Kate is not only not here for Rachel, she is not here for the show. She is not. Like, she literally says, I'm the traitor. Vote me out.
Oh my God.
Please, dear God, for all that is sacred, just vote me out. They're like, I think that's what a traitor would say if they weren't the traitor. And she's like, no, I just want to go. I hate all of you. This is so stupid. It's just, I just want to drink wine with the Real Housewife, and she's gone. Like, please just can I go? Please, I will quit. Do not make me quit. They said I don't get money if I quit. Just vote me out, please. I'm begging you. And they refuse. And then Rachel goes, I love you so much. She goes, I hate you. I hate everything about you. Your every outfit you wear, your voice, your hair, everything. And it never ends.
I'm going to have to watch this when I have my little bit of downtime. This is like a crazy week for me, but I will. Yeah. I have to have my tune out time or else I'll lose my mind. So I'll watch this during my I'm still tuned in, but my tune out time will be this instead of the news or whatever.
So then they did a reunion special and they don't show this clip, which really upset me. But Rachel presents a baby outfit for Kate because she had a baby after the filming. She goes, hey, I got you. And she was like, it's tacky just like you. It's the worst.
Oh my God. So mean.
She goes, I made it. She goes, exactly.
Oh God. So mean.
So it's pretty amazing. I'm here. I love Rachel so much, but I'm here for Kate all day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when you get a character like that's just like vicious and relentless, it's like you end up just like you can't get enough of seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, like and like every challenge you have to collect money to bring to the end, and she was just like, I don't feel like carrying it. She just throws it in the bushes. They're like, didn't you have money? And she's like, nope. And they're like, that's our money. She's like, I don't care.
I love that. It's good TV. It's good TV.
Good TV. Yeah. So all right. I'm at Jonny Fairplay and all the things. Check out fairplayrumble.com. And I'm going to be in Australia. And if you're in Australia, go to survivortix.com.au. That's how they do it. I would have done survivortix.au, but they don't do it that way. It's survivortix.com.au. Get your tickets. I'm going to be 3 nights for the premiere week of Australian Survivor Titans versus Rebels. Me and King George, my favorite survivor of all time. Don't tell the others. I'll get jealous. And become a patron, realitypatron.com. That's realitypatron.com. And links to everything at jonnyfairplay.com. I have, I think, 6 new shirts dropping today. I have a Jonny Fairplay gimmick shirt. It's pretty crazy. It's 100% cotton, but it's not. It's a lie. I don't know. Look it up. And then I have a legend shirt coming out. So anyway, 6 shirts coming out today. Go to fairplayshirts.com for all that. And quite a season, quite a ride. Jenn Hoffman, the fans love you. I love you. You were the most incredible co-host ever. I'm so excited that you did this, and I can't wait for more.
Thanks. Me too. I had so much fun doing this. I had so much fun watching the show. I had fun going over it with you, getting the scoop. We got our tickets. So this was fun. And this was really great.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time. Bye.